Hello, my stamping friends. My name is Rachel Trout, and I come live usually to you every Thursday at 12 p.m. Arizona time to share a card class with you. Today is the first day that you will be seeing recorded videos from me now through probably mid-August. Today is my kids' last day of school, and it will just work best for our family this summer if I pre-record my videos and don't need to come live. That will give me more flexibility and more time to spend with them this summer. So the plan is that I will be live here again with you sometime in the middle of August, and I of course will let you know that. So a couple important things. If you want to make sure that you see my videos every week, they will be on YouTube. So I will be sharing the links on Facebook, but sometimes when there are external links, they don't show up for you in your feed as much. So make sure you click that subscribe button on YouTube because you'll be notified there then when a new video posts. If you are not a part of my email list yet, there is a link in the description of the video and you can join my email list. I also email out the videos every week. So that way you'll be sure to get it and you'll get to watch my card classes even though I won't be live with you for a while. So thank you for bearing with me. I hope you are still inspired by these card classes every week. I will miss our live interaction, but please still comment and let me know that you're watching because I will definitely be checking those comments and interacting with you that way. And every week I draw winners from everyone who comments to send the cards that I make to. So that is always a lot of fun. Today I am wearing my pink shirt because we are playing with a really fun bundle. It is one of our new online exclusive products and it is called the Party Piggy Bundle. I am so excited to share this one with you. My youngest daughter loves pigs. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, I have to have that bundle. And I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think our cards today are really adorable. And even if you're not a fan of pigs, I hope you leave inspired and with some card making ideas. So every week I also offer the card kit for the cards that I'm making. So if you shop with me now through Tuesday, you can get a card kit to make the 3 cards that we make today. Your order just needs to be more than $50 before tax and shipping, and before rewards also. So if you're using some of your Stampin Rewards, just make sure that after you've put those in and before the tax and shipping, your order is over $50. The cool part is that with the rewards, you get $5 in Stampin Rewards with a $50 order that you can use on your next order. So that is a lot of fun. Plus you get my card kit. It's super cute today, guys. So much fun. I will put a shopping link in the description of the video so that you can shop. And if you have any questions, just let me know. All right, I'm going to flip the camera down and we are going to take a look at this cute bundle. All right, now you got to let me know in the comments, do any of you already own the Party Piggy Bundle? So it has been available for a few weeks now, and I don't know, was it on the top of anyone else's wish list? Sorry, I'm trying to get my camera kind of straight here. The Party Piggy Bundle includes a stamp set, and then look how adorable this die set is. It's so tiny. It's like half size of our other ones. So there are only 5 dies in this set, and that's why it's in a smaller package, which I think is super cute. I don't know if we've had any this small before, but you have the dies to cut out the pig's head and his body, and you'll see when we do this, the body, see if I can get it the right way, there's his tail. For the body piece, it cuts out a little bit up above the top, so that is a place where you can glue the head on. And then you'll see on our first card, this circle die, well, for one, it's nice to have a circle, right? But it can also cut out his little belly to make a shaker card. Now, some people have said they think that's creepy. I think it's really cute. So let me know in the comments, do you think that the pig shaker belly is creepy or cute? And maybe you need to see the card first to decide. I think the sentiments in this stamp set are really fun too. I was reading them to my daughter and she's like, read it again, because it's so funny. What shakin' bacon? I am so proud of you. So much fun. And this is a fun one to color if you like to color too. So let's get going. We have our first card today, and this is going to be our shaker card. So how cute is this piggy? This is definitely one that you would not be able to mail because the shaker does add a little bit of bulk. It is not super thick, but it's definitely thick enough that it wouldn't go through the mail very well. So this is one that you want to give to somebody in person, maybe somebody like my daughter who loves pigs. So if you shop with me this week and get the card kit, this is exactly what you will get. You'll get your 3 cards sorted into envelopes with all of their pieces. And if you don't already have the Party Piggy Bundle, you can include that in your order. Or you could substitute another stamp set. Maybe you have another animal stamp set that you want to do instead. I will include this little shaker piece, but you provide your own embellishments and ribbons, and you can substitute whatever you have on hand. So these are a new shaker element. They're called loose shaker elements, but we've had lots of shaker type sequins and things in the past. So if you have some different ones that you want to use, you sure can. The other embellishment that we're using on our cards today are these gems. I believe they're part of another online exclusive suite, but they're strawberry slush and pretty in pink. And then these are kind of like a clear, and they all have gold flecks. They are super pretty. They are called strawberry slush and pretty in pink gems. And they are so pretty. And then we have a little bit of white baker's twine on this card. I'm sure you all have that in your craft room. And then on the last card, we're going to use this ribbon. This is another online exclusive product. It is similar to our iridescent trim, I think, but this one is gold. And it's just a little bit more narrow than the iridescent trim. This is called Gold Mesh Ribbon. So we're using that on the last card, but you could use any ribbon that you like. All right, so for our first card today, I have a thick basic white card base. And look at that, I have some of those little shaker pieces already in the middle of my card stack pieces here. So this is just a regular size card base, thick basic white. It is 8.5 by 5.5, and we'll fold that in half. The designer series paper I'm using on my cards today is actually from the Turtley Awesome suite. And some of these patterns are really great for like birthdays, kids cards, well, obviously with the turtles, but they don't have to be turtle themed cards. So this is the back of a sheet that can be cut apart into different like card fronts and scenes, but I really like this side with the different colored polka dots. So that's what we're using for our piggy card today. And this piece is the same size as my card front, 4.25 by 5.5. So we will just adhere that flat. You can use your favorite adhesive. I like to use Stampin' Seal Plus. Okay, then we have a piece of Pool Party here. Now it says on the back of this designer series paper, it has a whole list of colors. It listed Balmy Blue as the blue. To me, this looked more like Pool Party. So I used a piece of Pool Party that is 3.5 by 4.25, and we're just going to adhere this to our card kind of at an angle here. So like this. And then I have a piece of white that is 3.25 by 4. So just a little bit smaller than that Pool Party piece. And this one, I'm just going to kind of go at an angle too. All right, so there we have our card. Now, let's get to our stamping. So I have a larger piece here for the pig. So if you are getting the card kit, you have 2 pieces of white. This taller one is where you're going to stamp your pig pieces. And we're going to color this pig with our Stampin' Blends markers. So I'm using my Memento Black ink pad. That way, we should not get too much smearing with our markers. So you stamp his head and his body separately. And if I leave enough space in between them, I'll be able to die cut them at the same time. You also want to account for that extra little round part at the top of the body. So I just try and stamp his body towards the bottom and his head towards the top, and then there's plenty of space in the middle. Okay, now we're going to use a different color for the pig on our second card. So I'm going to clean this off so that we don't mix our colors. And then we will get to coloring the pig. Now, you can let me know in the comments what color of pink you think would be great for a pig. I'm using a couple of different colors today. For this first card, we're going to use petal pink. I think that's a great pig color. So I have my Stampin' Blends markers here. And what I discovered as I was coloring my pig is that I think I need to replace my petal pink markers because I could tell that they are not quite as inky as they need to be. Like after I color with them for a little while, they need a break. So I'm just starting with my dark petal pink here. And guys, this is how I color. I look at the samples. So this is an online exclusive product, but if you are in our online store, there are usually some photos and there's a couple of project ideas. And so what I did was I looked at the shading on those samples and I copied it. And that is a good trick if you are not sure where the darker area should be. And see, my tip on this light petal pink has seen better days. So I think on my next order, petal pink Stampin' Blends markers are going to be added. I usually like coloring with that brush end, especially for larger areas like this. But today we are going to use the tip end a little bit to save that brush end. I don't know. We'll see if my light petal pink makes it here. This was part of the reason why I used different colors for all three of my pigs today, because I knew this petal pink marker would not last. And I also wanted to show you how you can have variety with your pigs. All right, well, I could probably get a little bit better blending if I had more ink in my marker, but that's okay. All right, I'm going to give those a break, and I'm going to do his spots. So for his spots and his hooves, I'm using my Smoky Slate Stampin' Blends. And I'm going to use the dark Smoky Slate for his hooves. If you wanted, you could also do black here. Obviously, that would be darker. Our dark basic black is like a true black, and light basic black is kind of in between that true black and this dark Smoky Slate. And then we'll use the light Smoky Slate for the spots on his ears and his body. You could also do crumb cake here. Crumb cake for the spots would look okay. And even on the hooves, you could use your crumb cake too. So if you don't have all the colors, just look through what you have and choose one that'll work. Okay, I think actually before I color this part, we're going to die cut, because then we can see, you know, that top part, some of it gets covered up, but you do want it to be colored where we are, where it shows, right? So I'm going to pull in my little embossing machine here, and we are going to die cut the pig, and then we'll finish coloring, and hopefully that will give my markers enough of a break that they will behave for coloring the rest of the pig. I might have to use more dark on the bottom part of him, just so that we don't run out of my light. I didn't realize that I colored so much with petal pink, but I guess I did. I'm just trying to get his body lined up here. Find my top plate. All right, so let's say a prayer that these dies don't move too much, and we'll get our pig on through. Here we go. Okay. Get our piggy pieces here. We'll set these dies here because we will definitely be using those again. Okay, so let's finish up with his body down here. And, oh, my dark tip is not that great either. Oh, man, guys. Petal pink going on the next order. You ever do that when you're shopping? So what I like to do is I will forget what I need to order. Sometimes even if I write it down. And so I will just go into I will start a shopping cart and I will add what I need. And then I'll keep working on the shopping cart. And then finally, you know, when I'm ready to place the order, I have everything in there. Okay. Let's see here. You don't want to do too much dark, but I also know my light marker is worse than my dark marker. All right, let's see what this one's got. Got enough left to finish our pig here. I'm starting with the areas that I colored the dark on to kind of try and blend the color, but you know, this marker doesn't have a whole lot of juice left, so I don't know how much blending is going on. This one might be done, guys. I think we're going to have to finish him out in dark. That's okay. It is still the perfect color for a pig, I think. Although you'll have to see my other two pigs, and then you can decide which color is best. Or maybe you would pick a different color even than the ones I use. We have quite a few pinks right now, so, you know, there's lots to choose from. We have Petal Pink, Flirty Flamingo, Pretty in Pink. I think Strawberry Slush, our new in color, would probably be a little too dark for a pig, but we're going to use it on our second card, just not to color the pig. Okay. Petal Pink markers, I think, are retired. Now, I found the easiest way to glue his head on was with glue, actually. Some of you who have been around for a while know that the green glue is not my favorite, but it does have its place. And gluing the pig together is one of those places. Oh, you know what, though? I forgot one thing. I remember just in time. This is a shaker card, so I didn't have to color his whole belly, guys. Oh, my goodness. You know how it goes. All right, we're going to use that circle and cut out his belly because we have to do the shaker. Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot that. And we're not live, so you guys couldn't be screaming through the screen at me, cut the belly. All right, I don't want it to cut his spot. Get it as centered as we can and run that through. All right, if you're doing the shaker, you don't have to color so much of the pig because look at all of that we took out. All right, well, I finished my markers off for nothing. That is okay. All right. So now we can glue our pig on. His head to his body. See if I can get my glue to come out here. When I was using it to make my samples, I had a lot of glue coming out, so I don't know. All right, there it comes. And we'll stick his head on, and I forgot to color. So when you're connecting it right here, you will have to color a little bit underneath where the stamp goes, just so it doesn't look like he has a white space. Okay, so that's his neck. Isn't he cute? I think he is super cute. Okay, back to our card, and now we are going to do our shaker element. So these shakers come in a little box, and there are 12 in here. And these make making shaker cards super easy. There's adhesive on this side and adhesive on this side. So the first thing I'm going to do is attach this to my pig. And you can do that by taking the adhesive off on the top. and sticking it down like that. And then I'm going to put glue on the back of my pig too, because it's going to be hard to get Stampin' Seal or any other adhesive onto the pig, unless I would have done that before I put the shaker on, but I didn't. So I think glue is your best bet here. So I'm taking the adhesive, or trying to anyways, taking the adhesive off of our shaker. We're going to add some glue to our pig here. Okay, and then the easiest way to do a shaker is to actually put the sequins or whatever you're using for the shaking part down on your card. If you try and put it in here and flip it over, that's not going to work so well. And you know what? It has been a long time since I made a shaker card. When I was making it, I was like, how does this work? I don't even remember. So you want to put some of the little shaker elements. You can decide how full you want it to be. And yes, they're going to fly everywhere when you start to grab them out. So, all right. I want it to be nice and full. All right, and then I think I've got it about where I want, but you can kind of adjust when you get ready to lay the pig down. Okay, so I think about there. So then we'll press our shaker down, press our pig down, and look at that. Isn't that fun? Okay, so now what do you think now that you've seen it? Creepy or cute? I still think cute. I mean, if you don't think about it too much, right? Okay, so there's our pig. Now we have two more pieces that we're going to stamp here. This little rectangle I've cut with our Textured Notes dies, and the What's Shakin' Bacon fits perfectly in this rectangle. So we're just stamping that in our black ink as well. And then we have our little pennants that he's going to be holding. And we'll stamp those on here. Okay, so the colors I chose to color the pennants, I was going off of the paper. And again, it listed, I don't think it listed all the colors because it looked like Pool Party to me. So I'm using my Pool Party blends, and the red that was listed was Cherry Cobbler, which this is not Cherry Cobbler. I thought it was kind of close to Poppy Parade. Real red would probably also work. So you can use whatever you want. You could use other colors too. Whatever color you want the pennants to be. And I'm going to start with my dark Poppy Parade here. And just color a little bit. And again, I just looked at their samples and copied what they did for where the dark areas should be. That is the beauty of samples, right? And actually, our first two cards today, I kind of cased from the samples that they had in the online store. I changed them up a little bit, but that was kind of fun. So use those samples as inspiration to create your own designs. I love doing that because the concept artists at Stampin' Up are amazing. And so if you are copying even a little bit of something they do, you know your card's going to be amazing too. Okay, there is a die that cuts out the pennant, so I'm going to do that real quick. And then we'll finish up our first card here. There's a lot of pieces to this one, but it's super cute. Okay, we'll run these pennants through. There we go. That die back so I don't lose it. Okay, so for the pennants, I think this is easiest to use the glue also. I know some of you are probably like, she is using a lot of glue on this card. What is wrong? I'm not sick. All right, I'm lifting up his little hoof to tuck that under. There we go. And then our What's Shakin' Bacon, we are going to do dimensionals on the back. And that can kind of just go down here in this corner. And I think this saying is perfect for the shaker card, right? What's Shakin' Bacon? Okay, then we are going to use a little bit of white baker's twine. Do any of you wish that we could just buy the white baker's twine by itself? So we have, it's in our Baker Twine Essentials pack, and it has 5 colors, which is nice. And the white does come with more on it, but I still run out of white first. And I wish, you know what, someday it'll probably come back as something you can buy by itself, because I've been around long enough that things come and go, then they come back. So, you know what, the Baker's Twine Essentials pack has been around for a number of years now, so pretty soon they should be switching it back to this, don't you think? Just white Baker's Twine. Because I really don't want to buy another Baker's Twine Essentials pack that has, you know, the 5 different colors, because I still have a lot of those other colors just to get my white. Okay, but I might have to do it because white Baker's Twine is an essential, isn't it? Okay, and then we're going to add a few of our gems here. We'll use the white ones. And we'll just put a few on. My spacing is not quite the same as it was on my first card, so they'll have to go in different spots, but that's okay. Let's see, maybe up there. I don't know if I like it there, but that's where it's going. All right, so there is our first card. Super fun, right? We have to do a shaker. I might have to give this one to my daughter because she'll probably just sit there and play with it. All right, so I am going to tuck that into an envelope. And you know what? This one might be kind of hard to send to one of you, but maybe I will send it in a different envelope. I will draw one random person from everyone who comments. So make sure you comment if you would like one of my cards today. Okay, are you ready to see our second card? Here is our second one. So for this one, we are going to use Pretty in Pink, and the pig is actually going to be in pecan pie. So he's not even a pink pig. But you know what? There are other colors of pigs. So for this one, that's what we're doing. And I was kind of going off of the sample in the online store. So we have a Pretty in Pink card base here. It is the regular size again, 5.5 by 8.5. Fold in half, and then I have a second piece of Pretty in Pink that is 5.25 by 4. And this one, we're going to do a little bit of stamping with these little like confetti type stuff. There is a sentiment called that says Let's Party, so you could use it with that one too. I didn't end up using that sentiment today, but it goes with Happy Birthday too. So I'm just going to stamp this kind of randomly across this piece. You can turn it, make it go different directions. Let's see here. The pig is going to cover up some of it, obviously. Maybe like that. Okay. And that was Pretty in Pink ink. Now, I'd have to show you this color combination because these are the colors I used on this card, and I think this is a great combination. It is Pretty in Pink, Strawberry Slush, and Pecan Pie. And then I ended up using a little bit of Crumb Cake in my card stack. But isn't this a cool combination? I really like how that turned out. So I will have to share that one for you to save. I will create a graphic so you can save that color combination because I think it is a good one. All right, we are going to attach this layer with some dimensionals. And then next we're going to stamp our pig again. So you have another piece just like that first one that we did. And this time we are going to stamp him in Pecan Pie ink. So same thing, you want to keep his head towards the top and his body near the bottom because then you'll have plenty of room to die cut both at the same time. One thing I didn't say when I first stamped him, but the first time I stamped the pig, I ended up with some ink from this part getting on my image. So just be careful when you are stamping not to press down on that part because the ink does collect there and you probably don't want it there. Okay, I'm going to wipe these off one more time because our last card we're going to stamp him in black again. I probably should have done the 2 black ones first and then the pecan pie, but that's how it goes, you know. If we get most of it off, it'll be fine. I just don't want to mix black in with my pecan pie. A little pecan pie in the black probably won't hurt. Okay. Now, to color this one, I am going to pick up some of the ink on my clear black, and we're going to use one of our blender pens. Have you used these before? I haven't bought them for a while. I think they come in a pack of 3. Each one has 2 ends, and what they do is it's almost like watercoloring. So you do have to be careful if you are doing this on a regular basic white cardstock. If you do enough of it, it's not super watery, but if you do enough of it, it does pill the paper a little bit. So you can color with them, and the more ink you have, the darker it will be. And then you can just go along the side like this. Get the ink out, and you can use it on a different color. So I love these. This was actually one of my very first Stampin' Up! Purchases way back many years ago. And my main reason was because then I didn't need to buy all of the colors of markers. I could color with whatever ink pads I had, which I thought was really cool. Now I'm going to color his snout a little bit. But I don't want it super dark, so I'm getting that first dark part off, or at least trying to. Now these don't blend as well as our Stampin' Blends markers, even though it's called a blender pen. So if you want to color with something else, you sure can. But I thought it would be fun to show you something different, and it looked, I didn't double check, but it looked like this was what they used in the sample, and I thought, I haven't used those for a while. That's kind of fun. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of a shadow here, and actually this will pick up some of the ink from where you stamped. So if you see that, how it's kind of blurring the ink a little bit, that's kind of cool too. We'll color his spots. You can also use our blender pens with our watercolor pencils to kind of blend that ink a little bit more. So that's a fun technique. And like I said, they're really nice because you just have to color out the ink that's in there, and then you can use it with another color. So even though you have 2 ends, I mean, they will last for quite a while. Okay. I think, well, let's see. This one maybe needs to be a little bit darker. And I can tell my paper is starting to pill just a little bit there, so I don't want to add too much more. And then, you know what, I should probably die cut first, and then I might add a little bit more where his head meets the body. Now this time we do not have to remember to cut out the belly, so that's good. We will just cut out the pig. So let me bring my die cutting machine back in here. We will cut out his head and his body. Remember when you're die cutting to line the edge of the die up with the edge of where you stamped. And it will have that white edge around it, but you don't see that when you have the die lined up, at least not too much. All right, let's cut our piggy out again. Hopefully those dies stay in place. All right, let's get all our piggy pieces here. Okay, so just maybe want, well, I don't know, maybe we'll just leave him like that. I think he looks kind of nice like that. So I'm going to glue his head on. think I added a little bit more on the first card down at the bottom. I'll show that to you again so you can see, and you can color it however you want. I like his head tipping a little bit to the left, but you can decide what you want on that too. So here's the first one. I did add a little bit more shading, but I think I'm going to leave him like this. I don't know. It'll turn out different every time you do it, I suppose. All right, and this time we can just use our Stampin' Seal. Although it looks like mine's going to run out soon, so I will use it minimally so I don't run out during the video. All right, he is going to be positioned right here. Then next we're going to stamp the little birthday hat because this is a birthday card. And we are going to use our Strawberry Slush ink. Who loves Strawberry Slush? So this is one of our new in colors, but it also is an old in color. It was a returning in color this year. Now for this one, my Strawberry Slush ink pad is pretty inky, and I'm just going to do the same thing, except there's kind of enough ink from the ink pad, and I don't really want it to be that dark, so I'm just pulling ink from my stamped image to fill in that top part and then the stripes. And there's a kind of more ink there, so you can go there to get more. And if you do want it to be a darker pink, you can do the same thing, and you can put a little bit on a clear black and color it in darker. I was just going for like a subtle light pink stripe on there, so I just did that. And there is a die to cut out the hat too, which is awesome, so we will do that. Nice when you don't have to fussy cut things, right? Love when Stampin' Up! Gives us dies to do that. Oh, that one's going to try and move on me. Let's get that back in place here. I think that's pretty good. Okay. All right, his little hat. Now, I would usually probably put some Stampin' Seal Plus on that, but since I am running low, we'll use the glue. It is kind of small for the Stampin' Seal Plus anyways. So put his hat there. Then, and I can tell my paper pilled a little bit again, so just be careful with the blender pens that you don't do too much. This is another piece of the Turtle Designer Series paper. So you can see the turtle peeking on the other side, but I love this stripe. It has the same color as that dotted piece. And I am going to cut the ends to angles. This piece is 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm just going to cut it to make a banner. So I like to cut up the middle and then cut each side. And for some reason, I do better if I turn it and cut it, you know, on the same side. I don't know, it looks better to me. But however you cut your banners. And then I have a piece of crumb cake here that is 1 by 2.5. And we are going to stamp our happy birthday sentiment in the Strawberry Slush ink. And I do not need to press too hard because that ink pad is super juicy. Okay, there we go. I love that bright strawberry slush. That, I love the cloud cover and the Secret Sea. Strawberry Slush is probably my 3rd favorite of our new in colors. And the yellow and orange are nice. I don't use yellow and orange as much when I'm crafting, so I'm probably not drawn to those as much. Okay. So I layered that to the banner, and now I'm going to add the whole thing with a few dimensionals. And I'm getting to the end of my sheet of dimensionals. So I know I've showed you this before, but if you cut around the edge, use those edge pieces too. Don't let those go to waste. Okay, we'll put this kind of centered across the bottom. And then this one does not have any ribbon or twine. You could add some if you wanted to, but we are going to add some of the Strawberry Slush gems. They are so much fun. I love the little flecks of gold. And I think these are so pretty. And I thought, what better bundle to use pink gems with than the pig bundle, right? You have to have some pink gems. So there is our second card. All right, we'll tuck that one away for a lucky winner. And let's move on to our third card. So here is our third one. I am so proud of you. And for this one, I drew my colors from the Designer Series paper. So that is where our Granny Apple Green came from. Now, funny story about this pig. So he is colored in Flirty Flamingo ink. The whole time I'm thinking, Flirty Flamingo is the color of these gems, so I'm going to do a Flirty Flamingo pig. I got my Flirty Flamingo pig all colored. I got my card done, and I'm like, I should double check what the name of these is, so I say it right on the video. I flip it over, and it says Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink gems. Not Flirty Flamingo, Pretty in Pink. But the cool thing about our Stampin' Up! Colors is that they all coordinate. Some of them have the same color tones in just different shades. So I was like, you know what, they still work. And when I went to film the video, I thought maybe I'll color on the video in Pretty in Pink and show you another color to color your pig. But could I find my Pretty in Pink Stampin' Blends markers? No, I could not. So we're going to use Flirty Flamingo again. You could absolutely use Pretty in Pink. You could use your Petal Pink again. Any color pink you want this pig to be is just fine. But I think the pink and the green really play well with each other. So we have a Granny Apple Green card base, 5.5 by 8.5 and fold in half. This is another pattern in that turtle paper. So this one's a green stripe. Some of the patterns are green and it looks like turtle shells, which kind of, you know, has to stay with the turtle theme. But this one can go with anything. See more of those cute turtles on the back. Don't worry, you are going to be seeing more of those because I will be using them next month. I think they are cute. This piece of Designer Series paper is 2 by 5. So we're lining it up on the left side of our card base. The top, the bottom, and the left side you all want to be kind of the same border around the edge. Then I have a piece of white that is 3 by 4, and this I have embossed with our mini corrugated embossing folder. I love this embossing folder. We'll see if our Stampin' Seal Plus lasts that long. Now sometimes the Stampin' Seal Plus doesn't work as well on embossed pieces, especially ones like this. This time it worked perfectly. The first time I did it, it was like, yeah, I probably should have used the glue. So you do whatever you want. I will use Stampin' Seal Plus 90% of the time if I can. Okay, so we're going to layer that there. And then we have a piece for our pig again. And we have a piece for our sentiment that is 1/2 by 3. So I'm going to get back out my Memento ink. Let's do our sentiment first. I am so proud of you. I love that. Stamp that. And then same thing that we did with the pig the other times. Stamp his head towards the top. And we will stamp his body towards the bottom. Now my Flirty Flamingo markers are better than my Petal Pink by far, but they probably need to be replaced too. Apparently I color with pinks a lot more than I thought I did. I think I'm going to die cut him first this time, just so we can get that top colored. When I did it the first time, I ended up with a much darker, harsher line there than I wanted. So hopefully this time it will not be quite so harsh. And he will be a pretty pink piggy. So after you see him in Flirty Flamingo, you will have to let me know in the comments which pink or brown or any other color you like best for the pig. I think there is a lot to choose from. And I cannot decide which one I like better. I think definitely I like a pink pig the best. But I don't know. I could go for either the Flirty Flamingo or the Petal Pink. And I'm sure Pretty in Pink would look good too if I could find that one. You know what? I've showed you guys the counter that I work on before, and it really needs to be cleaned off again. I'm sure they're somewhere on that counter because that is where I work all the time, but where on the counter, I don't know. Okay, so we're going to do our shading kind of like we did on the other pigs and start with our dark Flirty Flamingo marker. And the dark is really dark. I think it's much darker than the light. Some of our Stampin' Blends, the colors are kind of close together. And the two shades, it's harder to tell which one's dark and which one's light. But Flirty Flamingo, it's pretty easy to tell. Maybe it was just, oh, my brush tip is not too bad on this one. So I think the dark is so dark that for his snout, instead of coloring it dark, what I'm going to do is give it several layers of the light Flirty Flamingo. And that will make it darker than the rest of his face, but not as dark as the dark, because it's just such a harsh line. I'm going to try not to get a harsh line. I want to blend that, but it's just so dark. So our Stampin' Blends markers, when you color with them, every time you color over an area, it adds another layer of color. So by coloring over his snout a couple of times, I'm adding more layers of color, and you can see that his snout is darker than the rest of his face. Now I do find that the Flirty Flamingo markers, they bleed a little bit with the, or it causes the black ink to bleed a little bit, and I'm not sure why that is, because we're supposed to be able to use our Memento black ink is water-based ink, and the Stampin' Blends markers are alcohol-based ink. So they're supposed to play nicely together, but there are a few colors where sometimes it still bleeds a little bit, and this is obviously one of them. Not sure why that is, but it is. I guess I should go up this side a little bit too. Okay, just a little bit. And you know what? I don't think I'm even going to add any dark there this time. I did last time, and that's where I got that more harsh line that I didn't like so much. So we will leave it alone this time. Now this one, I'm not cutting out the center of his belly, so I do need to color the whole thing. But good news for us, my Flirty Flamingo markers have a lot more juice left in them than the Petal Pink ones did. So color up there. That very top part will get covered by his head, so I don't need to worry about that. And what I kind of like to do is go around in a circle, blending the color, and then when you get to the center, it's like the lightest shade because you haven't gone over that part more than once. I don't know. So like I said, you know, you're adding the color, the layers of color, you're blending. You could keep doing this all day if you wanted to, really. So you're just going to keep going until you get what you like. And of course, once it dries, it always looks a little bit different anyways, I think. Okay, that's probably good. Then I'm just going to use my Smoky Slate again for his hooves and his spots. Same thing we did with the first pig. I used the dark Smoky Slate for his hooves. And then we'll use the light for his spots. And if you wanted to do any shading on the spots, you could. I mean, there's a couple larger ones. Maybe you could do a little shading, but they're so small. I thought we just color them. We wouldn't worry about the shading, but you sure could. All right, so there is our pig, and really his snout, that made the ink bleed a lot. I'm not sure why it did that this time, but gives it kind of like a shadow, I guess, so we'll go with it. All right, I am going to glue his head onto his body. And, oh, I forgot to color that bottom part again. I think I'm just going to use the light, because that's how I ended up. Yeah, I guess I used the light on the other one, too. I just didn't like that harsh line on the first one, but I'll give it a couple layers there. Okay. All right, now we're going to add him to our card with some dimensionals this time. And like I told you, you got to use the edges. So I usually will go around and cut the whole thing when I get to this part and then use the edges up. And I needed an edge piece for something the other day. So I cut one piece off already. But usually, okay, I've got them all done. Now we can use those on our pig. There we go. Okay. So we're going to add him onto that embossed piece. And then this is just going to lay flat on top of the pig. So you can use your Stampin' Seal or your glue or whatever adhesive you like. And I don't like covering up his tail, but I think that's a good spot for the sentiment. I guess it could go up a little bit. Then we'll see a little peek of his tail and that spot. So there we go. Here's that. All right, now we're going to use our Pretty in Pink gems, which I was convinced were Flirty Flamingo, but they're pretty in pink, and they're still pretty, and they still work well with our Flirty Flamingo pig here. And then last but not least, we're going to use some of this gold mesh ribbon to tie a bow. I love white ribbons, but I also love gold ribbons because they go with just about anything also. And I thought this ribbon goes really well with these gems because they have the flecks of gold in them. So I believe the gems are part of the Floral Impressions suite, and the ribbon is part of the Cheers and Sips suite. See where I left my mini glue dots. They are floating around here somewhere. There they are. But they work really well together. And pink gems, of course, work well with our piggy. So there is our ribbon, and there is our third card. All right, I'm tucking that one into an envelope too to send to someone who comments. Let's pull all three of our cards back in here so you can see them one more time. All right, now you have to vote which one did you like best today. I am a little partial to the shaker card, I think. Let me know in the comments which one you liked the best. Thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, if you would like this week's card kit, shop now through Tuesday, and all you need to do is order more than $50 before tax, shipping, and after you use your rewards. There's a shopping link in the description, and you can find me here again next week with another card class for you. Have a great day. Bye.